Hash, 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 impeachment, drums beating louder than ever against Mr. Not My President. But will they echo or fizzle? Listen up, folks, because if there's one thing that gets my blood boiling in this upside-down circus, we call Washington, it's watching a handful of gutsy lawmakers finally grab the impeachment playbook and swing it at the guy who's been treating the Oval Office like his personal playground. Yeah, I'm talking about Mr. Not My President, that orange-tinted ego on steroids who somehow slithered back into power and is now testing every boundary of decency and law like it's a game of constitutional twister. As of right now on this chilly November morning in 2025, a few House Democrats are cranking up the volume on impeachment resolutions. But let's be real, it's less a full-on orchestral symphony and more like a garage band jamming in the basement full of fire but short on amps to reach the cheap seats. We've got resolutions flying left and right, accusations piling up like unpaid bills, and a whole lot of hand-wringing from the so-called leaders who swear they're fighting the good fight while tiptoeing around the real brawl. Buckle in, because I'm diving deep into this mess, unpacking the who, what, and why behind these pushes, and laying out plain as day why it's got more sizzle than steak right now, but damn if it doesn't make you hope for a flip in the script. Let's start with the spark plugs here, the firebrands in the House, who aren't content to just tweet their outrage or file polite reports. Take Representative Al Green, that Texas Democrat with a spine forged in the fires of past battles. He's no stranger to this rodeo, having led charges against Mr. Not My President back in the day when the world still remembered January 6th like it was yesterday. Just this past June, Green dropped HRES .537 like a mic on the House floor, a straight-up call to impeach over what he slammed as a blatant abuse of power, specifically those weekend airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites that bypassed Congress faster than you can say undeclared war. Picture this Green striding to the podium, sweat on his brow, passion in his voice, declaring that Mr. Not My President had devolved our democracy into some authoritarian fever dream with himself, as the star, the director, and the audience all rolled into one. He wasn't mincing words, calling it a direct assault on the people's right to decide when we go to war, not some Lone Ranger fantasy out of a bad Western. And get this, he forced a vote on it right there on the spot, turning the chamber into a pressure cooker of awkward stares and whispered deals. But here's the gut punch: most of his own party, nearly 130 Democrats, mind you, teamed up with the Republican blockade to table that bad boy quicker than a bad blind date. They voted it down 6-1, essentially killing the momentum before it could even rev up. Green didn't back down, though. Oh no. He took to the floor again, clips circulating on YouTube like wildfire showing him railing against the betrayal, the fear, the spinelessness that lets a man like Mr. Not My President run roughshod over the Constitution. It's the kind of raw, unfiltered fury that makes you want to stand up and cheer, even if you're just watching from your couch with a cup of coffee gone cold. Then there's Representative Shri Thaindar, another Democrat not afraid to throw haymakers in this ring. Back in April, yeah, that's right, springtime, when the cherry blossoms were mocking our wilted republic, Thaindar filed HRES 353, a 7-count indictment that reads like a greatest hits of Mr. Not My President's worst impulses. We're talking obstruction of justice, straight out of the Mueller playbook, where he allegedly stonewalled investigations like a kid hiding veggies under the table. Then there's the usurpation of Congress's purse strings, funneling billions into pet projects without so much as a by your leave from the lawmakers who actually represent us. Abuse of trade powers. Check, remember those tariffs slapped on allies like they were enemies at a family reunion, turning global markets into his personal revenge tour. Violation of First Amendment rights. Hell yes, Thaindar points to the chilling effect on free speech the way Mr. Not My President's rants and retweets have cowed critics into silence or worse. And don't get me started on the creation of unlawful offices, that shadowy bureaucracy he spun up to dodge oversight, or the bribery and corruption charges that smell like pay-to-play on steroids. topping it off with a big, fat count of tyranny, because why not call a spade a shovel when the hole he's digging for democracy is this deep? As of this writing, that resolution sits in limbo. No hearings, no votes, just gathering dust on some committee shelf while the world spins on. Thaindar didn't stop there. Either he's been out there on social media and town halls, beating the drum, reminding folks that silence isn't neutrality, it's complicity. And it's not just these two lone wolves howling at the moon. We've got Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, to her army of fans jumping in back in June with a firestorm tweet storm calling those same Iran strikes grounds for impeachment flat out. She didn't sugarcoat it, laying out how bypassing Congress on matters of life and death, American lives, Iranian lives, doesn't matter isn't leadership, it's lunacy, a direct betrayal of the War Powers Clause that's supposed to keep kings in check. AOC's got that millennial edge that cuts through the BS, her words landing like punches in a debate club brawl. Why are we letting this guy play world police when he can't even spell diplomacy? Her push rippled through the Progressive Caucus, sparking side conversations in cloakrooms and coffee clatches, but again it hit the same wall party elders waving it off like an overzealous intern's idea. Then there's HRES. 415, from May, another Democrat-fueled rocket aimed at high crimes and misdemeanors, this one zeroing in on the broader pattern of executive overreach. It's like these resolutions are pop-up ads for accountability, popping up every time Mr. Not My President does something that makes your jaw drop, but no one's clicking buy. Now you might be wondering, and hell you should be, why the hell isn't this gaining traction? Why are we stuck in this loop of bold filings followed by collective shrugs? Buckle up, because the roadblocks here are as American as apple pie laced with partisan poison. First off, impeachment ain't just a legal slap on the wrist. It's a political third rail humming with enough voltage to fry a career. Some Democrats, the cautious types, the ones who poll test their breakfast cereal, worry that diving headfirst into this now would paint them as sore losers, or worse, give Mr. Not My President and his echo chamber the martyr complex they crave. Imagine the headlines. Dems launch witch hunt round 2. Fox News would feast on that for months, turning every town hall into a grievance rally. And let's face it, with Republicans holding the House and Senate like a death grip, thanks to that razor-thin 2024 squeaker, any impeachment push is DOA before it leaves the gate. The Senate needs a 2/3 supermajority to convict and remove 67 votes in a body where party loyalty runs thicker than crude oil. Good luck prying 17 Republicans off their orange god's throne. Most would sooner impeach their own grandma than cross that line. Dig deeper, and the whole concept of high crimes and misdemeanors starts looking like a Rorschach test. What looks like treason to you might be Tuesday to them. The framers left it vague on purpose, a catch-all for when a president's gone so far off the rails that the guardrails snap. But in practice, it's whatever the politics of the moment say it is. Legal eagles from The Guardian to your corner constitutional scholar agree. Without ironclad bipartisan, buy-in, it's theater, not justice. And right now, the vibe in D.C. is more oversight opera than impeachment inferno. Democrats are channeling their energy into subpoenas, hearings. And Article Roman II, lawsuits, those nitty-gritty challenges to executive power that chip away at the foundation without the spectacle. Think endless probes into those trade abuses, or the First Amendment chill factors building a case brick by brick instead of dropping a bomb. It's smart in a chess master way, but frustrating as hell if you're the type like me who wants the hammer now, not next fiscal quarter. But let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't happening in a vacuum. It's the latest chapter in a saga that's been dragging since 2016, when Mr. Not My President first rode that escalator of lies into our nightmares. Remember the first impeachment. Ukraine quid pro quo, the Senate whitewash that let him skate free. Or the second after he lit the match on the Capitol like it was his birthday cake. Those were the big leagues, full House votes, televised drama, the works. This round feels scrappier, more grassroots, like the resistance is bubbling up from the ranks while the brass polishes their caution signs. And yeah, the partisan math sucks. Republicans own the levers, but history's full of surprises. Watergate started with a break-in and a cover-up, not a coronation. Iran-Contra. Reagan's crew thought they were untouchable until the tapes dropped. Who knows what leaked memo or whistleblower drop could turn this simmer into a boil? My take: straight no chaser. These impeachment efforts are the canary in the coal mine, singing loud and clear that Mr. Not My President is testing every limit, every norm, every sacred cow, and getting away with it, because too many in power are playing scared. It's infuriating watching Green and Thaindar and AOC out there exposing the rot, while the Hakeem Jeffries crowd murmurs about strategy and timing like we're negotiating a car lease, not saving the soul of the nation. Don't get me wrong, oversight matters, investigations build the docket. But impeachment isn't a luxury, it's the Constitution's panic button for when the driver's swerving off the cliff. And let's call it what it is. Mr. Not My President thrives on the stall game, the endless drama that keeps his base frothing and his enemies divided. Every day we dither is another day. He stacks the court's pardons, the cronies, or green lights some half-baked foreign adventure that could spark world war, whatever. But here's the blunt truth that keeps me up at night, and should you too, this isn't just about one man. It's about the precedent, the poison he's pumping into our veins. If a president can bomb nations without Congress, can throttle speech with a tweet, can bribe and obstruct without consequence, then what the hell are we left with? A monarchy in MAGA drag, that's what. And for all the anti-MAGA fire in my gut, I know the flip side. Rushing in half-cocked could boomerang, handing him 4 more years of unchecked chaos. So yeah, it's a tightrope over a volcano, but damn if we shouldn't be walking it with eyes wide open. So what do? Keep screaming from the rooftops? Hell yes. Eyes on these markers, folks, because they're the pulse check on whether this garage band gets a stadium gig. First, the House Judiciary Committee, that's the gatekeeper crew. If they schedule hearings on any of these resolutions, Thaindar's 7 Deadly Sins or Green's War Crimes Special, that's when the air shifts from hot to scorching. No hearings. It's still smoke without fire. Second, head count time. A handful of progressives is cute, but impeachment needs a chorus. Watch if more than 50 Democrats flip from table to table, pound if the caucus fractures under public heat. Polls showing Mr. Not My President's approval dipping below 40%. That's jet fuel. Third, the street beat. Public pressure isn't some hippie dream, it's the oxygen of change. If media, real media, not the echo chambers, starts hammering daily, if protests swell beyond the coasts, if even a few blue dog Dems feel the heat from town halls, then Congress might grow a pair. And fourth, the Senate wild card. Republicans aren't monolithic hell. Remember Mitt Romney's lone wolf vote back in the day? If a few break rank, maybe over some fresh scandal like a leaked tape or a botched deal, watch for the cracks. Lindsey Graham suddenly looking queasy. Jackpot. Until 2 or 3 of those lights flash green, we're in this weird limbo, efforts real as rain, but outcomes foggy as a DC morning. It's not imminent, not tomorrow's headline, but it's brewing, and in a town built on bluffs and betrayals, that's saying something. Wrapping this up, because I've ranted long enough, but mark my words. Ignoring these impeachment salvos is like ignoring a check engine light on a Greyhound bus headed for the gorge. Mr. Not My President may laugh it off, tweet some deflection, but the architects of accountability, Green, Thaindar, AOC, and their quiet allies are keeping the flame alive. And in this fight, that's no small thing. Stay vigilant, stay vocal, because democracy doesn't die in darkness, it withers in indifference. We've got work to do, folks, and I'm right here in the trenches with you. Santiago, D.C., Maria, November 11, 2025.